Hey, Cody here with Lightspeed Social Agency, sitting down today with Riley Patoshnik from RocketThruster, all-around web development guy, can help you with anything you need to make your website look better, produce more sales, and we are going to be talking about what makes a great landing page for a lawn care landscaping company today. We're going to be getting into some copywriting tools that you can be using, and also Riley has a lot to say on the technical side of what makes a good landing page, things to keep in mind as you're transitioning from people have seen ads, now they're going to your website. What do we need to keep in mind in that transition to build trust with them will be a big theme, and get them to give you that bit of information that you need to get them into your sales funnel. So with all that said, dive in. And if you need to find Riley for help with your website, there will be links down in the description here to find him. So we're just going to jump right in to this landing page here. So I will share my screen, and I'll share the correct screen, and we'll be good to go.
Awesome.
So what we have here is just a sort of like fill in the blank landing page that exists on my website. That let's just imagine I've seen an ad on AdWords or Facebook, and I've clicked it and I've ended up right here. So we just want to talk through from a usability and like technical side right away. What do you want to see when someone hits a landing page?
Yeah. So ultimately, when somebody's coming from a different site like Facebook, they've seen an ad, you want to keep that ad looking fairly similar to the page that they're going to be landing on. You don't want to scare them away. If you use a whole bunch of reds and yellows on your ad, you don't want to use blues and purples on your page. It doesn't feel like the same place. So that's one thing to think about. Keep it very, very similar so you don't scare people away. But then ultimately, you just want to make it easy for them to find what they're looking for. Having that compelling headline up at the top to pull them in. You want to get them scrolling through the page, and then you start diving into the content of the page. What matters most to them? What are the things that are going to influence their decision? That's something to start thinking about when you pull people from Facebook or Google AdWords or wherever you're running that ad to ultimately get them to make a decision. So up top, have that compelling headline, have a great looking image to pull them in. Then from there, you can start answering the questions that are most important. What services do you offer? Where do you provide those services? What are those things that they're going to be looking for to make a decision? Introducing imagery, videos, whatever you can do to show off your work, to kind of get them thinking about why they should choose you. It's a valuable thing. So from the start, make sure you pull them in, because you don't want to lose them. You only have a few seconds to ultimately capture their attention. So anything that you can do, whether it's a video about you and your company, you standing in front of a camera and talking about why you got started, to just some great imagery up at the top here, that'll pull them in. And then you can start talking about everything about what you do and why they should choose you.
Yeah. So in this above the fold section, this is our second impression, right? If they've seen ads, and Riley is absolutely right. When you're pulling someone from an ad, you want them to hit a page that somewhat resembles the ad. And this is where like having some sort of cohesive design language that you're using. And if you're using Canva, which I've recommended a lot to people to do ad creative, it's what we use to make our ad creative. You can set those brand colors in Canva so that they're always like easily accessible to you, so that you can pull them across. Your ad will have, your logo in it, your profile picture is going to have those colors in it, and then they're hitting a website that matches those same colors. Big things that I want to point out up top here, this headline. I have seen so many lawn care and landscaping business owners who are addicted to using the word professional in copy. It is a thing that's very important to like our side of the business, that we think of ourselves as professional. because there are a lot of unprofessional like lawn care and landscaping companies. But I think it's more important to think about the specific benefits that you're intending to call out with that word rather than just using it. And I think one of the big ones is always on time, is something that you're trying to call out with that. Think about more specific language that is not on every single lawn care website when you're going to use one of those words that you see all the time, like professional. What am I actually trying to say here? How can I make myself stand out? No lawn care website is going to be like, we're the unprofessional lawn care guys. So make sure that you're calling out a very specific benefit in that headline. And then creative wise on that photo, or if it's a video here, somebody's face in the thumbnail looking me right in the eyes. It is hard to, we're socially conditioned to make eye contact with someone who's making eye contact with us. So if we can have a photo of an employee in the field, but looking at the camera, I should have looked at the camera when I did that. Or a thumbnail of you, the business owner, walking them through who you are, what this service is. If this is a landing page for a specific service that you're selling, explain it to them, looking them right in the camera lens there, and walk them through what it is. Text-wise here, you just want to keep in mind that we're selling benefits, not features. So lean really heavily on what feeling does this service provide them. You aren't just like, raking up leaves and bagging them at the curb. You're freeing them up to spend time with their family at a time of year when everyone wants to be around their family right through the holidays. And then kind of the last thing above the fold here, a big CTA button that really stands out. We've got this yellow here against the blue background. It's very obvious. I know on a lot of websites that Riley works on for RocketThruster, there's bright orange CTAs, just things that really stand out so that people know intuitively what's the next step, where do they want me to click. So is there anything else that you think should be said about above the fold?
I think you pretty much covered a lot of it. I think the main thing is just capturing their attention. At the end of the day, you're pulling them away from a social site, say like Facebook. They were looking at friends' content, they were looking at videos, and
they were arguing with someone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you want to make sure that when they land on your page, they don't feel like it's a waste of their time. You pull them in, you're talking about something interesting to them. And then from there, once you got their attention, then you can start scrolling down the page, what we would call below the fold. And at this point, this is where you start kind of selling yourself. And you mentioned something, Cody, that was really important, not just using the traditional language of professional. We're wanting to set yourself apart, or we're wanting to set your business apart. We don't want you to feel like every other company that's trying to pitch them for why they should choose you. In this below the fold section, this is where you're supposed to start answering questions, addressing the things that matter most to them, the things that will ultimately persuade them. But you're now wanting to give them some opportunities to understand what makes you different. And in doing so, you build a little bit of trust, which we can talk about that here in a second, ways that you can build trust. Mm-hmm. But you're also giving them some reasons as to why they should choose you, as to just comparing your company based on your prices. You don't want to just go into the lowest price game. You don't want to look like everybody else, because that's when they just choose a company by the deal they offer. So down here below the fold, it's going to be important to start separating yourself. The video helps a ton. More videos, the better. When we start talking about building trust, video testimonials are fantastic. People want to see a lot of videos. Organic imagery can do that. People want to see the work that you're accomplishing and the results that you can provide them. All of this stuff works to your benefit in separating your company against everybody else. But then from there, you can give more hard in stone details. What makes you different? Have a section talking about that. Are you always on time? Do you have a product warranty if you're doing a lot of planting, or if you're doing hardscaping? Do you have warranties for the products that you use? Do you have a satisfaction guarantee that'll protect them in the event that you make a mistake or something goes wrong? What are you doing that makes the justification for them to potentially pay you a little bit more? What are they getting out of choosing you? That's something important to think about on your website as we dig down below the fold here.
Yeah, people who are continuing to read down the page are invested in making this decision. If they're spending longer than 3 or 4 seconds on this page,
Yeah.
they care about what's here. So I think you're absolutely right, like that personal touch with video. But then also, I hear you like bringing up a copywriting trick that that people talk a lot about. That's like raising and resolving objections. So sort of presenting them with kind of the alternative to working with you is, any benefit that you have for your company is in contrast to another company they could go with. So this other company might be cheaper, but they use crappier equipment, and they're going to, it's going to take them a lot longer to get the job done because their equipment's constantly breaking. Their employees aren't in uniform, so you're going to have neighbors who are weirded out by seeing just a bunch of random dudes wandering around. They're showing up in a beat up truck. So this is an opportunity to show them what is different about your company, raise objections they might have to working with you, and resolve them as benefits. So yeah, I mean, that below the fold section is your opportunity to stand out. We had up here, we were saying a video kind of explaining that specific service that you're selling on this page. You should always be sending people to a landing page that's doing one thing. We're trying to collect email addresses to get quotes for fall cleanups, whatever that one service is. That's what we want to push people from ads that were very specific to a very specific landing page, so that that helps with all of your attribution behind the scenes. But so we've got that like service specific video up top, and then below the fold is a great place if you have a kind of like one size fits all company intro video that you filmed, that's you kind of talking people through who you are, who your company is, showing them the faces of employees, letting them see people hard at work and the kind of work that you're proud of doing. Below the fold is a great place to drop that video if you've got something more specific that makes sense to go up top on the landing page. And then finally, like on a technical note down here at the bottom, let's say you had, several pictures here, maybe a video, some copy, kind of walking them through who you guys are and everything. We want to make sure that they can always see a CTA button so that they know what the action we want them to take is. So this is harder to see because this is a dummy page and it's not long enough. So we've got 2 buttons on screen here, but we want to have that CTA button down at the bottom as well. And if it's a really long page, maybe add it in the middle somewhere as well, so that there's always that really obvious yellow or orange or whatever color call out where they know that's where they want me to click. That's what they want me to do next.
Yeah, that's a really an important point when it comes to call to actions. You want to make it as easy as possible for them to get started. Don't make them have to go search for what they need to do next. Give them that path that they need to take to move forward with your company right there in front of them. Whether it's a button to take them to a form that they need to go fill out, whether it's a phone number, or in the case of where it makes sense, you can even have a very short form on the page itself. It could be down at the bottom. When you do that though, make sure that it's not long, probably 5 fields at the most. Because you don't want to overwhelm them with questions that you're asking right up front. Probably their name, their email, their phone number, maybe their address, or maybe the service that they're interested in. The point is just to collect their contact information so that you capture that lead, and then you can follow up with them later to close that sale for real. So when it just comes to call to action, the main thing is to remember, keep it simple. Don't make them think about what they have to do next. And just give them the path that you expect them to take to move forward with you. What is that really valuable thing that you want them to do, whether it's giving you a call or filling out a form? What's easier for your team, and what's going to get the contact information of the visitor so that you can follow up and close the sale? That's a really important thing to mention there when it comes to trying to get results from your page.
Yeah. A thing that I would recommend people do that is a little more upfront work, but I think has a big benefit on the back end for a couple of reasons, is having a unique form by service. So whatever CRM you're using, if we have a landing page for fall cleanups, we're upselling fall cleanups here, or this is our, spring maintenance, big selling page. The form that they hit should be unique to that service so that and in your CRM, anyone who came in through this form was requesting information about, whatever this page was for. So then you don't have to ask them. You don't have to have 20 checkboxes of every service they could possibly have with you that they have to click, and they have to know the name of the thing they clicked the ad for. Because if your ad was written well, you were selling them a benefit, not a service name. So they may not even fully know that they need to click, pruning trees or whatever. They just know they want their crepe myrtles to not die.
Yeah.
So those unique forms, so that as people come in, the office knows everyone who filled out this form was requesting this quote. And the other thing that to sell this as a benefit to business owners, by making that form simpler, you're incentivizing people to complete it. If I see a form that's a page long and it's like an interrogation of my entire life to get a quote for lawn care, I'm probably going to go with the company that has 4 fields and, it didn't take me any effort to click the autofill on Chrome or whatever to fill in my name, address, and phone number. That's all you need. Make these steps as tiny as possible, the least amount of effort for them to get them in the door and then sell them.
Yeah, that's an important thing to mention. I'm glad you brought up the idea of that they may not know the service that they're looking at. They just know what they're going to get from looking at this page, and you've got them to a point where they're interested in moving forward with you. So maybe the service box on the field or the form isn't necessary. You can cut out that step and just get them to fill out the field, give you their name, their email, their phone number, so that you can follow up and get more interest, get them to get on a phone call with you, whatever that step is. Make it easy for them. And one thing to mention before we kind of move on to the rest of the stuff on the page, one thing you can also do or start playing around with is doing texting for gathering lead information. So a lot of these sites, they're doing form fields. You're having to fill out a form to get into their system, to say you're interested in the service, or you're having to give them, the company, a call. One thing you could try out is having a phone number specifically for texting. This is more personal. You're getting access to the place or the platform that everybody uses on a daily basis. If you can get a phone number, or if you can give them a really easy way of reaching out to you, just sending you a simple text to let you know that they're interested in what you're talking about. And there may be some additional thinking that goes into this just to make sure you know what they're interested in and all of that. But you can do this up at the top of the page here, where when they're interested, they can just send you a text, and one of your team members who is monitoring, say, text messages, or even Facebook messages, you could do this idea. Your team member can quickly get back to them. You're shortening the response time. You're going to be the first one that gets back to them as long as you're doing this correctly. And you're going to beat a lot of the competition because you're getting to that lead. You're responding to that lead first. You're not giving your competition the chance to get back to them first. You're going to be the one that's first in their phone. And you're going to have the opportunity to ask those questions and hopefully get them on the phone to progress them even further down the funnel. So that's one idea. Not many companies are using that idea, but it's something worth thinking about.
Yeah, and that gets to things that there could be, future videos around doing scripting for bots, so that your Facebook messages or text messages, however you're choosing to contact these people, you can do that initial collection via a bot, and then it gets handed off to someone in the office when sort of we've hit the end of the the script that's just what's your address, what all of those sort of things, that makes it feel like they're having a personal engagement with the company faster. Wow, I sent a message at 5:45 when I got home from work and someone responded to me right away. Like it communicates a level of customer service, even though like, you know, you were sitting next to your pool having a beer at the end of the day. So just like thinking about future ways that you can hand that off, I think that'll be really cool to work on later. But yeah, if you, any way that you can talk to people faster is going to make you stand out against the competition.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, anything that you can do to make it easy for them, just do it because it's going to get you more results. I think before we start, we talked about the call to action. That's important for every company. The one thing to think about before they actually get to that call to action step is building trust. This is something every site or every landing page that you build needs to be doing, just because they don't know who you are yet. At the end of the day, they just found you on a post on Facebook. So you need to make sure that they have a good idea of who you are and why they should trust you. Because if you don't build that trust ahead of time, it's going to be pretty hard for you to get them to give you their credit card or to actually schedule a service and have your team come out to their property. There's a lot of trust that goes into this to make sure that they're hiring the right company that can provide them good results. So utilize a few things to build trust. Testimonials, one. Every company should have testimonials on their site that people want to hear what other people have to say about your company. They want to know that other people trust and depend on you to provide good quality results. Testimonials should be one of the first things that you have on your website. And it should be something that every company utilizes. I kind of alluded to in the beginning of this video, the idea of video testimonials. That's a little bit more work to get. I mean, especially because some of your clients don't really want to get in front of a camera and then have their face marked or advertised on the front of your website. But if you can find those people that would be willing to talk in front of a camera just for 30 seconds, talking about your company, why they chose you, what was so great about working with you, that's going to be huge because it separates you from everybody else. Almost nobody has video testimonials on their website. So the ability for them to see your clients, see what they're saying, they're actually speaking these words, it's immensely valuable and it'll build a ton of trust for your company. Having those testimonials or those video testimonials right above your final call to action, it's going to seal the deal for them. It's going to persuade them to move forward with you. It's just going to do a lot when it comes to getting them to say yes and getting them to feel comfortable enough to get something scheduled with you. So those are some things to think about. There are certainly other ways to build trust. Again, going back to pictures, videos about you're talking in front of a camera, making the business feel a bit more human with those. There are a lot of ways that you can do this, but testimonials in video testimonials, if you can get them, those are huge.
Yeah. Every one of your landing pages needs to have some sort of social proof on it. If that is, you know, a ticker that pulls in your Google reviews or Facebook reviews, or ones that you have, you know, you've got quotes from Google or Facebook or both that you want to pull in, definitely like that's the bare minimum for a landing page. You have to pull that lever of social proof. We've talked about a bunch of different copywriting tools that you can have in your toolbox, and as many of them as you can get on the page without it being like, I did that in a way that made it seem like it was going to be really busy, in a way that looks good and is usable. But as many of those tools from your toolbox as you can get on, because different people respond to different combinations and amounts of each of those tools. So we want to make sure that we're giving everybody what they need to see to buy with us. Mm-hmm. So yeah, social proof. And if you can do video testimonials, that is awesome. Like Riley said, it is more work, but it's going to pay dividends. You know, you record 3 or 4 videos once and you will get a lot of mileage out of using them on every one of these landing pages that you're making for your services. You know, below the fold on the homepage of your website, they're good sources for quotes. You can take like a clean screenshot of a video with the quote on, you know, the other side if you framed the shot appropriately, so that you can use those for pull quotes elsewhere. Just video testimonials are super valuable, and there's no one in the industry that's not like crazy big that's doing them. So
Yeah.
excellent opportunity to outshine your competition.
Yeah. 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 Those testimonials, anything that you can be doing to build trust, very important. One last thing that I have to mention about the landing page, or any page when it comes to trying to sell a product or a service. You've got to think about what are the things that people are commonly asking before they move forward with you. What are those questions that people have? We've kind of talked about this landing page a little bit out of order. We've talked about the call to action near the beginning of this video, and then we talked about testimonials, which you can have testimonials anywhere throughout the site because it's good to build trust anywhere they are on any page, things of that sort. And then now we're talking about questions. Think about what are the things that's going to matter most to your visitor? What's going to influence their decision? Not necessarily from the standpoint of building trust, but what are those questions and concerns that they may have that could potentially hold them back from moving forward with you? You have the common questions like the services you offer, where do you provide those services? Because they first want to make sure that you do what they're interested in and you serve the area that they're in. But then from there, you can start digging into some of the, I don't want to say more niche questions, but the things that people are commonly asking that a lot of other companies aren't addressing on your website. And this could vary from company to company or in different markets as well, or I guess we could say different states, because different, I guess one thing to think about is residential clients are going to have a different set of questions than commercial clients. So what I was trying to get across there was different sets of people are going to care about different things. So if you understand who you're serving, who's the type of person that you're commonly working with, you can create a website tailored to that person or that group of people to get better results. So if you've worked with clients, if you've talked with prospects, and you hear a set of questions and concerns that your team is commonly having to answer over the phone or by email, think about that, grab those common questions and put them on your website. Not only does it save your team time because they're not having to constantly answer these same questions over and over and over again, but it's putting those people on your website in a closer position to actually say yes and get a job scheduled with your company because they don't have as many questions and concerns still separating you from them actually giving you their credit card or getting a job scheduled. You want to reduce that friction, give them what they need so that they feel comfortable. And one thing, or there's a book out there called They Ask You Answer. I would recommend anybody in the service industry, go look at this book. He was in the pool industry. He was building fiberglass pools, and he did a lot of these strategies that we've talked about in this video. And a lot of what he focused on.
That's Marcus Sheridan?
Yes, Marcus Sheridan. Marcus Sheridan, They Ask You Answer. And his entire idea was giving people the information that nobody else addressed. None of his competitors addressed this information. He was the company that everybody went to find the questions that they had or find the answers to their questions that they had. So that's a book to check out if you want to dig deeper into a lot of the stuff that we've looked at and really dive deep into the specific set of answering people's questions and becoming the company that people go to for answers. That's a great book to check out.
Yeah, I would encourage people to think about a time when you have been, making a buying decision and the company anticipates the very next thing that you're going to wonder about the product, and they answer it as you're looking through stuff. It's like, oh, they know me. Like, this product is for me. They're anticipating exactly the question that I was going to have about it, or exactly the use case that I was wondering about. Like, when you can master that, and I don't know that it was Marcus Sheridan, but I've heard like sort of an efficiency hack that like the third time you have to write an email, it should be a template. Like the third time you find yourself like, oh, I have written this before. I've answered this question before. That's when it's time to consider, like, does this have a place on the landing page for this service? If every time someone calls about fall cleanups, they ask you, well, what happens when the rest of the leaves fall in a week? then like it needs to be on the website. Like tell them whether there's an additional charge for coming out again, or if y'all have like how car washes have like a 3-day rain guarantee, maybe you have a 3-day leaf guarantee. So whatever questions you hear repeatedly on those services, figure out a way to incorporate them into the page. And that doesn't necessarily mean an FAQ section on every page. Work it into the copy, get a headline, kind of a subhead kind of worked in there that addresses this question, maybe not as explicitly as what happens if my leaves continue to fall. You can be clever about it. You don't have to have an FAQ section on every page. But yeah, Riley, I think that they can all go out and make masterful landing pages now, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. They've got all the information they need to create a really high performing website at this point.
Perfect. Well, if people are looking for you online, they want to talk to you about web development, where can they find you?
So I am most frequently on Facebook, or at least if there's a social media platform that I'm on most frequently, it's Facebook at RocketThruster, RocketThruster. Sometimes people don't immediately know what I'm saying when I say RocketThruster. And then RocketThruster.com, spelled the exact same way. Those would be the two places where you can either reach out to me or go figure out what I do in more detail. So those would be the best places to find me.
Perfect. Yeah, we will have links down in the description here to help you connect with Riley if you are in need of some web development.
Yeah, awesome.
Dude, thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Cody. It's a good video.
All right. Well, I hope that you have learned everything that you need to know to make an excellent landing page for each service that your lawn care and landscaping company provides to introduce people into your various sales funnels in your business so that you can optimize those sales and get people in the door as easily as possible. Make sure that if this video was helpful to you, if this is the kind of stuff that you know that you need to be listening to and learning from to build a better lawn care and landscaping business, make sure to give the video a like to feed the algorithm, and subscribe to make sure that you see our videos in the future, and click the bell if you really want to see them right when they come out. All right, we will talk to you later.